The south end of Oshawa is a really rough place. And I didn't just grow up in the south end of Oshawa. I grew up in Wentworth Manor, 275 Wentworth Street West, an apartment building with 126 apartments in it. I can still smell the urine from the hallways. I was in 408, apartment 408. And that was my world. And that's what I thought as a poor kid from the south end of Oshawa was everybody's world. The world was self-contained in 4 tiny little walls. And that on the stereo, of course, was Loretta Lynn, Johnny Cash, and Kenny Rogers. That was the extent of my musical experience. And that people didn't go to concerts, they didn't come and hang out in places like this. They could only afford the albums, and they played the albums. And there were 4 or 5 albums, and that was it. The activities of life outside apartment 408 were rather limited as well. I hung out at the 7-Eleven next door. I had a curfew. I had to be back at the apartment every night at 9 a.m. And I remember saying to my mom, "Mom, the people of South Oshawa trust me to sell their hash oil. And you forced me to come back here by 9 a.m.? And she said, "They don't know you." I know you want to get back here for cartoons. They don't know you. I thought that was my world. I thought my world was Johnny Cash and Loretta Lynn and living in an apartment building that smelled like urine in the south end of Oshawa. I thought that my life was simply doing that, and that you leave the apartment and the only place you went was to your blue-collar job. And then from the blue-collar job to the beer store and back to the apartment. And that was life, and wasn't that glorious? Because none of us know what we don't know. And then one day in 1984, I was 14 years old. And a friend said, "You know, I've got tickets to a concert in Toronto." And people don't go to concerts. That's only something you see in movies. People go to, they go to progressive euchre tournaments. And they go to trailer parks on Rice Lake, and they go to jail. That is where people go. They don't go to concerts. And she said, no, they do. This is what people do in life. And so my very first concert, the very first time that I stepped away from the south end of Oshawa in 1984, my very first concert was to see Prince on his Purple Rain tour at Maple Leaf Gardens. Now, people didn't wear stiletto heels in the south end of Oshawa unless Honeymoon Suite was playing and the acid wash jeans were there. But in that moment of taking the GO train in to see Prince, His Royal Highness in all his purpleness, opened by Sheila E., that, my friends, was not just the beginning of a musical experience. It was the beginning of a whole new life, of seeing that there was more beyond the walls of apartment 408. And seeing that experience on stage, an entire band playing the most ridiculous, over-the-top songs of our time. That was an awakening for one little poor boy from the south end of Oshawa. And out of that, I realized that as you open yourself up to new experiences, sometimes you can just look up, enjoy life, and bathe in the purple rain.